Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Genesis Baptist Church in Lenox, Alabama. Ecclesiastes. About 6,000 years ago, God created the heaven and the earth. The earth is not billions of years old. The geologic column is stupid. There is no evidence for evolution at all. Give it up, guys. There is no fossil record. There's fossils. None of them talk. None of them have a date on them. Nearly all the fossils probably formed during that flood 4,400 years ago. Noah's flood. The Bible said the scoffers will be ignorant. 2 Peter 3, willingly ignorant about the creation and the flood and the coming judgment of God. So after the flood, God called a guy named Abram, changed his name to Abraham, and he began what is now the Jewish nation. And the Arab nations, many of them are descended from him too. Okay, so that's about 350 years after the flood. So let's take a look at blow this section up right there. So after Abraham, the book of Genesis covers nearly 2,500 years of world history. We did a whole series on Genesis. You can get the videotapes on that, DVDs on that on our channel here, someplace. Joseph can find it. Look at that. He's fast.
Yeah.
Genesis.
We have it in the bookstore.
In the bookstore? May not have it. Okay, anyway. Then God called Moses to lead them out. The book of Exodus means to go out. So the story of Moses leading them out. And then we have Moses God giving Moses the law to give to the people in the book of Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, the giving of the law. Took them 40 years to get across the desert because men don't stop and ask directions. And when they finally got into the promised land, they did not have a king. They had a period where they had judges. They had judges for about 440 years. Joshua was the first judge, and they went through a time of judge. Then the people said, we want a king, we want a king. So they demanded a king because they said, we want to be like all the other nations. Anytime that you're at your goal, you're asking for trouble. Kids in school, I want to be like the rest of the kids. I want to pierce my nose and pierce my eyelids and pierce my lip. And they got all that jewelry in their face they can't eat. I don't want to kiss that, would you? Man, you might get blood piercing. And never mind. Okay. So they had a time where they had kings. The first king was King Saul, and he was a dud. You had King Saul, and then King David, and then King Solomon, each one for 40 years. Just coincidence, I think. Then Solomon's son Rehoboam was a moron, and he split the kingdom into two. They had the kings of Judah and the kings of Israel. The northern 10 tribes were Israel, called Israel. The top two were called Judah. Anyway, and you got to go back and forth through the book of 1st and 2nd Kings. It's a little confusing trying to figure out which one they're talking about, kings of Israel or kings of Judah. Most of the kings of Israel were bad. That indicate the black on their form. On the left side, the black indicates a bad king, and the white indicates a good king. So they had good and bad. So here we are. In the Old Testament, Old Testament has 39 books in it. Old has 3 letters, and Testament has 9. And that's everything that happened before Jesus came. 3 times 9 is 27, and there are 27 books in the New Testament. So these books right here, Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon, those are called the books of poetry. Okay? So we covered the book of Job a couple years ago on my channel here. We covered the book of Psalms and Proverbs. You can get those now on DVD. Is the Proverbs done, brother?
Yeah.
Okay. Coming out soon. I highly recommend you get DVDs, folks. I know everything's up online. Someday, Big Brother is going to say, no more access to the internet. You're going to wish you had a hard copy you could watch when you want. Okay. So Ecclesiastes, also written by by King Solomon. So Solomon wrote most of the book of Proverbs. He wrote Ecclesiastes, and he wrote Song of Solomon. Here it is. Ecclesiastes mentions the preacher a whole bunch of times, just in the book of Ecclesiastes, the preacher. There it is, right there. The preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Everything's useless. Nothing matters. This is the king writing this. I want you to understand, the book of Ecclesiastes is written purposely by King Solomon to be the view of the world from man's perspective. This is not from God's perspective. Like, for instance, later we'll see where it says, hey, when a dog dies and a man dies, it's the same. Well, as far as humans go, that's the way it looks to us. It's not the way it is, though. So the Jehovah's Witnesses and other cults get their crazy doctrines, a lot of them from Ecclesiastes. This is man's view under the sun. You'll see that phrase a whole bunch of times, under the sun in here. Vanity of vanity. The richest man who ever lived, King Solomon. King Solomon's wealth was 666 talents of gold annually. That's 25 tons of gold. Yesterday, when I did this, gold was $4,257 an ounce. he was making $1.7 billion a year, $4.7 million every day. I don't think even your wife could spend that. Solomon had 700 wives because God was punishing him. Okay, princesses and 300 porcupines or concubines. I'm sorry, and his wives turned away his heart. Solomon loved the Lord. Skip down to verse 5. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream and said, "What do you want? I'll give you one wish." He said, "Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart. Lord, give me wisdom to judge these people." And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked these things. Solomon said, God said, "What do you want?" He said, "I want wisdom. I'm going to be the king. Give me wisdom, Lord." He said, "Okay, I'm going to give you more. Behold, I've done according to thy words," God said. "I've given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither shall thee after thee shall any arise like unto thee." Solomon, I'm going to make you the smartest man that's ever lived. What he's got promised here, okay? And he said, and I have also given thee that which thou didst not ask. You did not ask for riches and honor, but I'm going to give those to you also, okay? So Solomon had the biggest and fanciest house in the world. Solomon was building his own house 13 years. He 7 years to build the temple, and it was all gold plated, everything, 13 years to build his own house. Biggest house. Moreover, the king made a great throne out of ivory and overlaid it with the best gold. The throne had 6 steps. On the top of the throne was roundabout, and there were stays on either side, and 2 lions before the stays, and 12 lions stood there on the one side and on the other side of the 6 steps. There was not like any in any kingdom. He had the fanciest throne in the world. Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen. He had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the cities for chariots and with the king of Jerusalem. Now, atheists will say there's a contradiction between the story here and the story in Chronicles. I covered that on video number 7. There's no contradiction. One of them said he had 7,000 stalls for horses and chariots. We'll cover that another time. Watch video 7. So Solomon had his own private army. King Solomon had more money than he could spend, more women than anyone you know or I know, more wisdom than any man in the world, and more honor than anyone in the world at his time. His own army, the biggest house, and the fanciest throne. What else is there? Did that satisfy him? No. Things just don't satisfy. Okay. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanity. All is vanity. Vanity found in the Bible. 79 verses contain that phrase 86 times. Nearly all of them in the book of Ecclesiastes. A whole bunch of them. Vanity of vanities. Vanity. What is vanity? And vanities, plural here, found in the Bible 13 times. Vanity. Vain, also found in the Bible 112 times. So vain, vanity, vanities, found in the Bible a bunch of times. Let's see. Oh, why do they call it a vanity? Because usually the women stand there and look at themselves for an hour, and vanity, right? Why do they call it a vanity? Well, vanity, excessive pride in one's appearance or accomplishments. Conceit, synonym, conceit. Okay? Something about which one is vain or conceited. Worthlessness. It's worthless. Vanity. Pointless. There's no point. It's futile. Solomon, after all his work to build all this fancy stuff, he said, it's all futile. It's all going to burn. It's all going to burn. You know how much Howard Hughes took with him when he died? Nothing. You know what he left behind? All of it. All of it. Yeah. Everybody leaves it all behind. Okay. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? Now, this starts a collection of phrases, under the sun. Keep in mind, this whole book of Ecclesiastes is Solomon's view of the world under the sun. This is the way it looks to man. So be careful about getting some doctrine you're going to live by from this book. It's futile. It's futile to make a bunch of money and leave it all behind, Solomon said, or to be the world's champion, whatever. It's futile. But then he says near the end of the book, it's clear the conclusion of the whole matter. Serve God. That's the only thing that matters. You know how many gold medals have been given out in the Olympics since they started this thing? I don't know either. A whole bunch. I bet they're gathering dust in somebody's closet someplace, right? Or hanging on the wall somewhere. Be careful about getting some Bible doctrine from the book of Ecclesiastes. Solomon is showing how life looks from man's perspective under the sun. This is not from God's perspective. under the sun. That phrase, under the sun, there's no new thing under the sun. So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors, there was power, but they had no comforter. Under the sun, found 30 times in the Bible. Under the sun. I returned and I saw under the sun. The race is not to the strong. Okay. Anyway, he talks about it. 30 verses contain the phrase under the sun. There you go. 27 of them in Ecclesiastes. Only 3 in other parts of the Bible. One generation passeth away, another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. People come and go, get old, die. Next generation grows up, gets old and dies, but the earth's going to stay forever. The sun arises and the sun goes down and hasteth to the place where he rose. Interesting. There's a lot of good scientific evidence in the book of Ecclesiastes, thing that we know, we take for granted. The sun goes down and it comes back up where it's us turning around, but it looks like the sun's going down and coming up on the other side every day, every day. Solomon said it just keeps going. The wind goeth toward the south and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. How did Solomon know that? Well, the wind knows that now about the Coriolis effect and the wind patterns. Here in Lenox, Alabama, the wind almost always blows from the southwest, called the prevailing wind pattern. You may live someplace where it blows from a different direction, but you can count on if they say, storm is coming, we know where it's coming from, usually, almost always the same direction. So this Coriolis effect is also from several things. The hot air rises, cold air sinks. But then at the North Pole, it sinks down and flows out, and it gets a little warmer and it rises and makes little eddies. Also, the world is spinning, which messes it up into weird patterns, okay? You can Google Coriolis effect, study that on yourself. Solomon said, all the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Strange. No, it's not strange. He said, unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. He's describing the hydrologic cycle, the water cycle. It rains, it flows into the oceans, it evaporates out, wind takes it over, it rains again on the earth, flows into the oceans. There's a big cycle, the hydrologic cycle, described right here in Ecclesiastes chapter 1. All things are full of labor. It's like this, ever since God told Adam, you got to work for a living now, son. Ever since then, people have tried to get out of that, make somebody else work for them. You work hard, you get something, and I'll steal it. That's the basic idea, or cheat you out of it or something. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. Isn't that strange? You ever go shopping, Joseph? You go shopping with your wife, and she just wants to look at everything. Walk down the aisle, look at this, look at this, look at this. The eye is not satisfied with seeing. I hate shopping, man. I go hunting. I can walk right in, bag it, shoot it, bag it, drag it home. And did you see that? No, I didn't see nothing else. Okay. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. Now, this may shock some people, but I think a lot of the inventions we have today, they already had way in the past when man was really smart. They had ways of cutting rock we can't do today, ways of moving those 700 or 70-ton stones. I think they had technology stuff we don't even understand. Who knows how far they got? We'll see. Okay. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall become after. All you're doing now, 100 years from now, nobody's going to remember. Yep. I remember my grandpa, Ole Espenes, my mom's dad. Ole Espenes came from Norway. And I was 8 years old. The only memory I have of him, I don't remember much else about his life. He was a carpenter, built a lot of houses in La Crosse, Wisconsin. My mom grew up 22nd and Cass. He built that house. And he's forgotten now, Ole Espenes. But he was a big man in his time. He was a famous carpenter. Everybody wanted him to do the work because he did precision work. But everything I'm doing someday is going to be forgotten. Everything you're doing. Solomon is saying, look, this is vanity. He worked hard to build a fancy house, make a fancy throne. And he said, it's all going to be forgotten one day. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. I gave my heart to seek and search out wisdom, by wisdom, concerning all things that are done. Solomon said, I want to learn everything. And he's the smartest guy that ever lived. I remember when I was in 5th grade, my dad got me started on this. I want to learn everything. He just put a taste in our mouth where you want to learn. I read the whole encyclopedia set in 5th grade. Okay. I did. I read the whole thing. 8th grade students got, you can ask some kids, 8th grade, Pleasant Hill Grade School. They bought a little sign from my desk that said the brain. Because anytime the teacher asked a question, oh, I got it. I'm not a brain, but I like to learn. Solomon had that. I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom. Everything done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised. You work, you learn a bunch of stuff, and then you die and take it all with you. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. It's all vexation. Vexation is the psychological state of being irritated or annoyed. Anger produced by some annoying irritation, the act of troubling or annoying someone else. We got people around here do that, don't they, Joseph? Okay. In the book of Ecclesiastes, the word vexation is found a whole bunch of times, okay? Solomon said, it's annoying. You work hard, you build all this stuff, and then you lose it all. It's just annoying. Vexation of spirit. Found 14 times in the Bible, vexation, 14 verses, 10 of them in Ecclesiastes. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. I commune with mine own heart, saying, I am come to great estate. Solomon said, I'm thinking to myself, I'm communing with myself, talking to myself. I've come to great estate. I'm the richest guy. I got 700 wives. At least one of them's going to be interested when I come home, from work. Out of 700, okay. Can you imagine the gossip in that hen house? You see what she's wearing? Oh, look at that. Look at that.
I bet they could spend $4 million a day.
What's that?
I bet they could spend $4 million a day.
Yeah, they could spend $4 million a day. I've gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. Solomon knows he's learned a lot of stuff. He's the smartest man ever. I gave my heart to know wisdom, to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief. The more you learn, the more grief you have. When there's a hurricane coming and everybody's panicking at the cats and dogs, they're laying there waiting for you to feed them. They don't worry about stuff like that. Grandma died. They don't worry. Car engine's about to blow up. See, the more you know, Solomon said, the more grief you have. He that increaseth knowledge increases sorrow. You keep learning and learning, and you end up increasing sorrow. So that's the first chapter of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 here. Take some more tomorrow night. If you have any questions or comments, I'm going to try to give short chapters here. We have more time at the end of the program to take more questions. I'm overrun with phone calls. I can't take more phone calls. So if you have a question, I give out my number, 855-BIG-DINO, extension 3. But it's much better, instead of calling that, then I'm answering a question for one person. Call that question into the show, and I'll answer the same question. But everybody gets to benefit. Hopefully it's a benefit if I got the right answer. Okay, Joseph, any comments or questions there?
Yes, sir.
How do you believe that centaurs are real? I don't know about that. I'd have to doubt it. Yeah. I'll catch one, put it in a zoo, and I'll go look at it, and then I'll decide, If I can reach more people online and want to share the gospel, is it okay to go on a mission in person? Not to go on a mission. Well, yeah. God calls some people to go in person. God calls some people to reach people, through the internet, whatever. You just obey God, whatever he says. Okay? Let's see. Why have you changed your view on the rapture? Because I was wrong and now I'm right. Watch, whoa, what on earth is about to happen? My book I wrote, the chart behind me. I used to believe we get out of here before the tribulation. That idea was made up by a 15-year-old girl in Scotland because she had a dream about the pre-trib rapture. Her name was Margaret MacDonald. Read my book, What on Earth is About to Happen, for heaven's sake. The pre-trib rapture is not true. And a lot of people are going to lose their faith when it doesn't happen and things go bad. well, I guess the Bible's wrong. No, you were wrong in your belief is what happened. Okay. Okay. When did the continents split? They never did. Have they been drifting at the same speed? The continents are moving just a little bit. I cover continental drift and Pangea stuff on video number 4 and on number 6. They say South America and Africa seem to fit. What they don't tell you is they shrank Africa 40% to make them fit. They took out all of Central America, Mexico, Central America, Honduras, Belize, all that gone. Señor, ¿qué pasa? ¿Dónde está Panama? Yeah, it's gone. Okay. And they also don't tell you, I think, the obvious. People say, do you think the continents were ever connected? They're still connected right now, underwater. This shape of the continent is a pure coincidence based on the water level. If the oceans came up or down, the shape of the continents changes totally. So no, I do not believe the Pangea theory. I think it's stupid. Tell them I said so, okay? Who or what news source do you recommend watching? Keep up with the worldwide current events involving. I can't answer that, Kevin. I like everybody, surf channels that, while I lay down and rest my back at the end of the day. So I don't know. Joseph, you got an answer for that one?
No, independent though. Independent news sources.
Yeah, they're the news media. Well, Karl Marx, the Communist Manifesto, he said one of the things you have to do to get communism into a country is take over the media. Or they've done that years ago. Okay. I notice the more I read my Bible, I get more protective in my faith, and I feel like I'm less tolerant of what other people around me say. Might be starting to losing friends. Well, when you take a stand on anything, somebody's going to be upset with you. It doesn't matter which side you're on, the left or the right. It's actually not left and right. It's right and wrong. Okay. Yeah. But be nice to everybody, and some love you, some hate you. I'm the nicest guy I've ever met, and some of the people hate me. Okay. Guess I don't need them, or they don't need me. Thank you. Appreciate that. You have a local church. I'm sitting in it. Okay. Genesis Baptist Church right here in Lenox, Alabama. We've got our own church building, and come on, visit. I've been an ordained Baptist preacher for 51 years now. So thank you, dial in for that. Any more? They keep coming in, Joseph?
No, that's about it.
Okay.
About it.
All right. Well, comments or questions, please send them in. I'd like to help. Tomorrow night, we'll get through Ecclesiastes chapter 2, hopefully, if I can get it all set up for tonight. Thank you. See you tomorrow.